My dear friends, today we bring you a story about a father who used to inject his daughter to make her beautiful for his friend. He would do anything to make his daughter a beauty. When she reached the age of 20, the girl's features were so stunning that the people in the neighborhood would stare at her in amazement because her figure was truly beautiful. But because of the injections her father gave her, she became more and more beautiful. When his daughter turned 20, he sent her to the bed of his friend for money. What the friend did with the 20-year-old girl will make the hair of anyone who hears it stand up. This story is very intriguing, so we ask you to stay with us until the end. Subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to receive all our new stories. In one of the villages there lived a man named Saga. Saga's wife passed away in her youth, leaving behind a young daughter, 6 years old. Saga embraced his daughter and cried, mourning his wife, saying, "How will this little girl be raised without a mother? Oh my God, what a trial this is for me, a poor man. Should I take care of my daughter, or should I go to work and earn a living?" At that moment, his relatives expressed their concerns. Saga said to his sister, "Sister, I entrust you with my daughter. She is an orphan, and there's no one I trust more than you." But his sister refused, saying, "Brother, I fear what she might bring upon us. You never know what kind of troubles she might cause when she grows up. It's better for you to keep her with you." Saga was deeply saddened by his sister's words. He took his daughter and went back to his home, naming her Karen. After that, Karen went to live with her grandmother, while Saga remained all alone in his house. He worked as a cleaner in the village, and every time he returned home in the evening, the loneliness of the night would torment him greatly. This feeling of isolation and sorrow led him to become addicted to drugs. While lying in his bed at night, intoxicated, one thought kept crossing his mind. If this daughter weren't here, I would have remarried by now. Today, this girl is truly a burden. My sister was right about everything she said. She has ruined my life, and day after day, I've become lazier and more careless with my work. When his daughter Karen turned 18, her grandmother also passed away, and she returned to live with her father, Saga. A year passed with Karen living with Saga, and now she was 19 years old. But for the past 19 years, Karen would sometimes say to her father, "Dad, why are you so angry with me?" Yet Saga never responded. No one knew what was going on in Saga's mind. He had truly become lazy and negligent in his work. Karen would tell him every day, "Dad, if you don't work, how will we eat?" But he would lie in bed, drunk, ignoring her. One day, Karen's face was flushed and her eyes were hurting. She said to her father, "Dad, I don't know what's wrong with me today. I don't feel well." When Saga looked up and saw his daughter, he stared at her. The devil attacked his heart, and his intentions became corrupt. He kept looking at her, from her head to her feet. Then he said, "My daughter, I'll give you some medicine." He quickly went to the hospital where he worked as a cleaner, bought a syringe, and returned home. He injected her, and as soon as the injection was done, Karen lay down, feeling a stiffening in her body. Meanwhile, Saga went around the house, laughing loudly, repeatedly looking at the syringe. By the time Karen woke up that evening, her fever had subsided. From that moment, this became a regular occurrence. At first, Saga would mix the medicine in his daughter's food, causing her to develop a fever, and then he would inject her with the same syringe. Every time, he would say, "Don't worry, my daughter. You'll feel better soon." One day, Saga told his daughter, "Karen, my dear, cook something delicious today, as my friend is coming to visit us." Karen asked, "Who is this friend, Dad?" Saga replied, "He used to carry you in his arms when you were a child. Every time he came to our house, he would pick you up and play with you. He is coming today directly from Africa to visit us. So I ask you to prepare something good to eat." It was a summer day, and in the evening, someone knocked at Saga's door. When Saga opened the door, he found his friend standing there. The two embraced. The friend was about 50 or 55 years old. Saga's friend said, "Man, are you going to leave me standing at the door, or are you going to invite me in?" Saga quickly invited his friend into the house and showed him to the living room. He called for his daughter. Karen, my dear, my friend must be hungry." At that moment, Karen entered the room holding the food. When she saw Sager's friend, who was around 50 years old, sitting beside him, she was shocked. When the friend saw the food in her hands, he was not looking at the food, but at Karen. His mind went blank with astonishment, and his mouth watered. He couldn't take his eyes off her. She was 19 years old, and he couldn't even blink. She was so beautiful, with a perfect figure and youth radiating from her. The friend started rubbing his hands together. Saga immediately cracked his fingers and said, "Did this daughter of mine distract you, my friend?" Sager's friend smiled and said, "Is this the same girl I used to carry in my arms?" "But my friend, there's something I don't understand. How did these 19 years pass so quickly? I didn't even feel it, and now she's a grown woman. She's blossomed into a young beauty." Sager tried to redirect the conversation. "The food is getting cold. Come on, eat, my friend." After his friend quickly ate his food, he said, "I'll stay here tonight." Sager's friend kept looking at his daughter with greedy eyes. Saga understood his friend's intentions well, but he came up with a lie. "My friend, I have urgent work to attend to tonight, so I won't stay at home. My daughter will be alone, so it's better for you to leave today, but surely there will be another chance later for you to stay." With a heavy heart, the friend left, not wanting to. Saga escorted him to his car, but when Saga returned home, Karen's face was flushed again. She said to her father, "Dad, I told you I'm having a high fever. Did you bring the medicine?" Karen spoke in a weak and broken voice. Saga smiled and said, Yes, my daughter. You know I never delay in bringing your medicine. I brought it for you. Come on, let me inject you, and by morning, your fever will be gone." Karen went quietly to sit in a corner. Saga came and rolled up her sleeve, injecting her like an experienced doctor. Karen sat for a while, massaging her arm, then began to squirm slowly from the fever. She was moving heavily. She eventually laid down where she was sitting. Saga wandered outside the house, feeling proud. Once Karen lay down on the bed, Saga rushed into the room. He cast a glance at Karen's body, thinking to himself with satisfaction, "Today, Tiagi's words proved that the effort I've put in over the past 2 years hasn't gone to waste. Today, I am reaping the fruits of my labor." With joy, he pulled out from his pocket the syringe he had just used on Karen earlier. His eyes were fixed on it. It wasn't just any syringe, it was the kind that made women beautiful. After years of working as a cleaner in the hospital, Saga had learned about syringes that could awaken desire in any woman, even an old one, and make her young and beautiful again. A few days ago, he started using this syringe on his daughter Karen. Over the past few days, he had been giving her shots mixing medicine that caused fever. Every time Karen asked for her medicine, he would smile and buy the same syringe, then inject it into her. His goal was that by morning, Karen, now 20, would beg him to sleep with him. By morning, her fever would subside, but the beauty of her body would continue to grow. Karen herself was stunned by the changes. Saga injected her carefully, and one morning, as Karen woke up feeling stiff in her body, she went to prepare tea. At that moment, she heard a voice from a nearby neighbor. "My daughter Karen, give me some sugar. We've run out. I'll return it in the evening." Karen silently opened the sugar container and began putting sugar in her neighbor's hand. The neighbor stared at Karen, scrutinizing her. "Karen, you're getting more beautiful by the day. Don't get the evil eye. Look at your figure. Where does your father sleep? You need to get married now. Your father doesn't feed you anything special, but your body is getting more beautiful every day. I have a daughter the same age as you. Both of you were born in the same week, but she looks like a little girl next to you even though you're both in your 20s. I don't know how you became this beautiful." The neighbor kept asking, showering her with praise. Karen, feeling uncomfortable, wished the neighbor would leave. This wasn't the first time the neighbor had spoken like this, but Karen herself didn't understand what was happening to her. She had become like a mature woman. After handing over the sugar, the neighbor left, and Saga was still asleep, snoring. Karen wandered around the house for a while, but their food supplies were running out. She had no money to buy anything, so she had to tell her father today. She wandered around some more and finally said, "What happened? Why are you waking me up so early, Karen? How many times have I told you? When I wake up from a deep sleep, my health gets worse. Don't wake me up early. You're just like your mother. She also wanted me to wake up early and go to work. No market opens before 7 in the morning. So, what will we eat? It's been a month, Dad, and I haven't been working either. If you wake up early and look for work, you'll surely find something." Saga looked at her with wide eyes and suddenly said, "I can't do that kind of work. I've been working hard all day and only make 500 rupees in the evening. That's not enough for a full meal." Their entire lives, this had been the same argument between Saga and his wife. After a while, Saga left the house, heading to the home of his friend, the landlord, Sayan. As soon as he entered Sayan's house, he saw a gathering of young men from the neighborhood. They were all drug addicts. Saga was one of them. Addiction to drugs and avoiding work were their old habits. They sat around, laughing loudly. Saga thought, "Today I'll borrow as much money as I can from the landlord so I can buy enough food for a whole month and not have to work anywhere." He entered, his pockets empty, his mind set on borrowing money. In front of him sat Sayan, the most immoral landlord. As soon as Saga appeared, Sayan called him, "Come, come, brother Saga." Saga replied, "I have nothing left. Give me more money as a loan." Sayan smirked and said, "You owe me over 100,000 now. I need that money back." Sayan always lent money to anyone who had a wife or a beautiful daughter, then used it to fulfill his own illicit desires. His eyes were on Saga's young daughter, and he had purposely trapped him in debt. He knew Saga couldn't pay back the money. Saga, humbly, said, "I'm helpless now, landlord. I came to you for help. We don't have anything to eat at home. My daughter is hungry." Sajan's face turned red with anger. "I want all my money today," he snapped. Saga sat with his head down as Sajan said, "I won't let you go, damn it." Saga knew what Sajan wanted, and in the end, what he feared happened. Sajan said, "Otherwise leave your daughter with me for 2 days. She'll work in my house and I'll forgive all your debts in 2 days." Saga thought, well, it's only for 2 days. But he also knew that his daughter wouldn't go to Sayan's mansion so easily. On the other hand, Sayan had wanted Saga's daughter for a long time. He had kept wives for everyone, most anyone who came to his house for a day or two. "Either give me my money or send your daughter to the mansion for 2 days. What do you say, brothers?" Everyone laughed, and Saga nodded his head shyly in agreement. Then Saga went to his house, grabbed Karen, and injected her again. She lost consciousness. His car was parked outside. He was about to leave, but before he did, a smile spread across his face. "Not so easily, landlord. This is the result of years of hard work. I won't let her go for just 100,000. Sajan asked, "How much do you want?" Saga smiled and said, "Look at the goods and give me what they're worth." Sajan handed over a check for 100,000 and Saga took it in his hand, taking Karen with him. Karen found herself in a large, luxurious bedroom. It was an incredibly magnificent room. She had never imagined her father could fall so low for money. She wanted to cry out loud, "Why did my father do this to me?" She was only 20 years old. Sajan locked the door behind him, then spoke loudly. "Your father sold you to me. I paid him 200,000 in full. You'd better please me tonight. If you do, I'll return you home tomorrow morning. No one will take you from here." Karen thought, could my father have deliberately sold me to Sajan first and then brought me here? She tried to free herself, but Saga became harsh. He grabbed Karen by the arm and pulled her inside. Tyagi, his friend, was sitting at the front, smiling as he saw Saga and Karen enter. Saga immediately pushed Karen forward and left her there. Tyagi stood up, running his hand across Karen's cheek. She shivered. Saga smiled. "How is the merchandise, Tyagi?" Tyagi replied, "She still seems like a virgin." Saga grinned. "I've worked day and night on her. This beauty is the result of my hard work. Now she will bring a new life to your palace." day and night. Just give me my share now." Karen wished for death at that moment, hearing Saga's words. Tiagi laughed and said, "For such a treasure, I'll reward you with money." Suddenly, Karen stood up, feeling desperate. "I need beautiful girls," Tiagi said as he ran his hand over Karen's body. Saga laughed loudly and began to tell the story. "People think she's my daughter, but that's not true. When I married, she came with her mother when she was just 6 months old." Saga continued, "When I first saw her, I don't know how many times I thought about turning away. But what would people think of me if I did? So I didn't." He chuckled again. "She kept asking for things day and night. I had no money, so I borrowed from here and there. Then someone suggested I take care of my daughter. She would become my source of income. I injected her with this serum, and now she's beautiful. Life has improved for me, hasn't it, Tiagi?" Tiagi nodded, amused, and Saga continued, "She's perfect. What more could I want?" Saga was lost in thought as he walked down the street when suddenly a bus hit him from the side. Afterward, he couldn't get up. Meanwhile, Karen kept crying in the room, but no one showed any sympathy for her. A woman came to her and said, "Mr. Tiagi will come to you. He wants you to please him. If you upset him, you'll be dealt with harshly." As evening came, the door to her room opened. A man in his 30s named Zaheb entered. He appeared poor, having come to decorate the room with flowers. When he saw Karen crying, he asked, "What's the matter? If you didn't want to work here, why did you come?" Karen remained silent, not answering. Zaheb asked again, "Did someone force you to come here? Tell me everything without fear or hesitation." Karen began to cry and said, "I'm a pure girl. No one has ever touched me." Then she told Zaheb the entire story. Zaheb became furious. "Don't worry," he said. Zaheb worked as a decorator for events and noticed a window open at the back of the room. When he looked out, he saw that the room was located on a high floor. He quickly tied small ropes he had brought with the bed sheets and attached them to the window. "You need to climb down from this window as fast as you can. After that, I'll handle things." Tiagi had connections with powerful men, so it was impossible to do anything against him. Zaheb quickly decorated the room beautifully and was paid for his work before leaving the mansion. After a while, Karen locked the door from the inside, and as night fell, she climbed down the window with the help of the ropes. Zaheb quietly took her from there and headed directly to a police officer. Karen told the officer her tragic story, and immediately the police surrounded Tiagi's mansion, freed all the workers there, and arrested Tiagi. Zaheb, who had no parents or siblings, was alone in the world. He said to Karen, "Let me take you to your home." Karen replied, "I have no one in this world." Zaheb joked, "Then you're with my team and I'm just as alone." He took her to his rented home, and the two began living together. Zaheb worked to earn a living while Karen cooked food. They were happy, and neither of them held any ill intentions toward the other. One day, Karen fell ill, and Zaheb took care of her, attending to all her needs. However, because of her illness, Zaheb spent all his money on her treatment and couldn't pay the rent. The landlord came angrily and said, "I want you to leave the house today." Zaheb begged him, saying, "Once Karen's health improves, I'll leave myself." "Where can I take her in this condition?" Zaheb stayed up nights, massaging Karen's head, heating water for her, and washing her clothes. Slowly, Karen's health improved, but they had no money for rent or even food. Karen said to Zaheb, "Can I say something, if you don't mind?" Zaheb replied, "Say whatever you want without hesitation." Karen said, "I have a house in the village." A few days later, Karen and Zaheb reached the village house. Karen fully recovered, and Zaheb began working as a day laborer in the village. One day, two women came to Karen's house and said, "We've come to propose to you. You've reached marriageable age. My son works at a company, and you will live in my home in everlasting comfort, sleeping and waking whenever you want." Zaheb, who was standing far away, overheard and felt a sense of disappointment. He realized that one day this girl would marry someone else, and he didn't want to burden her in her own home. He went into the room and began packing his clothes into a bag. Karen heard their conversation in silence. When Zaheb left the room with his bag, Karen immediately understood what was happening. She turned to the two women and said, "Do you know this man standing before you?" The two women replied, "No, we don't know him. We've known you and your father since you were a child. Now that you're alone and poor, we thought we'd make you our daughter-in-law." Karen smiled and said, "This house you're sitting in is mine, not rented like yours. I know you well and I know your son. This man standing here is my husband and I am his wife." The two women stared in shock, and one of them said, "This old man, how is he your husband, Karen?" Karen replied, "Look, aunt, speak respectfully. He is my husband, and no matter how old he is, I don't see anyone better than him. As for your young son, there are plenty of girls for him." Zaheb then turned to Karen and asked, "Why did you lie and say I'm your husband? You're only 22, and I'm a man in my 40s. Why not marry someone your own age and live your life?" Karen smiled and replied, "I considered you everything to me. That's why I kept you with me, alone, in my house. I decided that you, while I was worried about your marriage, would remain by my side. I'm very happy now and feel safe. You're a husband who respects me, and I've found a good wife and a home." The two of them, alone in their small world, continued to live together, content and at peace. And so, dear friends, what did you think of this video? If you liked it, please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you.